Hey guys, it's Ross Gordon on the Space Coach today. One of the films I watched when I was up in Sunderland with my brother was the old movie The Black Hole, which is just a classic of my childhood from 1979. And I saw it in the cinema back in the day. I've seen it a couple of times since, including most recently a few weeks ago. But I had not seen it for a very long time. Now, a lot of it still really holds up very, very well. Some of the writing is a little bit hit and miss and a little bit wooden. But I mean, it's surprising that sometimes when you have a lot of stars in your cast, it doesn't necessarily mean that that star power expands. You know, it's like, think of all those 1970s disaster films that were an all-star cast. None of them was like Oscar-worthy particularly. But yes, The Black Hole, it was a great film. I really liked how they depicted the black hole as this swirling vortex. I mean, because that's what they thought it was back then. I mean, it's not how we picture black holes now. I think it was Interstellar did the best job of that, where it's basically just a void with light bending around it. But they didn't really know how to show that back then, I suppose. Now, I did like the robots in the black hole. Obviously, Maximilian is just brilliant. And, of course, there is Old Bob and Vincent, voiced, of course, by Roddy McDowall and Slim Pickens. And obviously it was Maximilian Schnell playing Hans Reinhardt, the crazy, crazy, mad scientist. Great stuff. And obviously you had Yvette Mimur, Joseph Bottoms, Robert Forster, and Anthony Perkins rounding out the crew. But I thought visually it's amazing. I mean, the Cygnus, that ship, it's just beautiful. It really is stunning. I was watching some reviews afterwards, after I'd seen the black hole, of what people thought about it, and they said it was basically like a mile-high version of the Eiffel Tower, because it has that kind of superstructure on it, doesn't it, the Cygnus? I thought it was just a stunning ship, and it's, what, a mile long or something? I also really liked the Palomino as well. I was always trying to build those out of Lego when I was a kid. Never really succeeded, unfortunately. But yes, the black hole, I mean, like I said, great visuals. And the concept was really interesting as well, and going into the black hole and stuff and coming back out when he's sending his probe in and out and wants to go in when no one has gone before, as it were. But the ending of that film, I mean, the more I've seen it and as you said, I've come to really appreciate it more because of how different it is, that ending, how they visualised what happens when you go into the black hole. What I did like is how they show everything as red, you know, when you see like the wreckage of the Cygnus just drifting and stuff, just as they're about to launch the probe with the survivors and everything. I really liked that. And it's, of course, in many ways, it's really, really far out, as it were, that ending. How Reinhardt, when his body's just going over and over, and it comes like this with Maximilian, and then he's like merged with Maximilian, and then it pans out and you see obviously his eyes and Maximilian's body, and he stood on top of that rock. And I always thought that that rock was kind of shaped a bit like Maximilian as well, certainly his head shape and then his body. I thought was interesting, and for me it was always I always imagined that was hell, and that is my understanding what it's meant to be. But it was, I imagine it was like the wreckage, the bones, as it were, of the ship, as what all the flames is coming through, and you see all of the figures crossing over the various thin bridges. The crew, of course, because he dragged them to hell with him, didn't he? Yes, indeed, he certainly did. And then obviously there's the whole sequence where it's flying through like the archways and stuff, like the mirrored archways. And I always thought that was Reinhardt's ghost escaping the salvation of Dr. Reinhardt, for instance, where you see that image going through. But I don't know that for a fact. That was just what I thought of it, for instance. And then obviously the others, they don't go to hell. They don't really go to heaven either. They go through the black hole and out the other side. But visually, it's really, really good. I mean, it's ridiculous in many ways, of course. What's that line? They're looking for habitable life, whatever that might be. And then the scene when the meteor is rolling down the central corridor and they're going across the bridge, and of course they've got to fall over, because that always happens in these movies. They'll fall over strategically just as something's coming towards them. And that did apparently inspire Indiana Jones and the rolling stuff that comes towards him in those movies. There's something that I'd always thought that it came out because of Star Wars, and all the studios were looking for the next Star Wars. You know, like they're always looking for the next Twilight or the next Harry Potter or the next whatever. That this was the next Star Wars. It had actually been in development for many years previously. I think for about 74 to 75 they'd started thinking about it, but obviously when Star Wars came out as a big hit, then its development really accelerated. And I do believe that the two robots, Bob and Vincent and old Bob, were added in there for like the R2-D2 / droid sort of thing in there. But I mean, Maximilian was a great robot. I think we might have had a Maximilian when I was little. And also the Star robots, you know, the ones that shoot like this. I'm sure we had one of those as well. But yes, I thoroughly enjoyed The Black Hole. The music is just fantastic. I mean, and I had never forgotten that music. Themes that you remember from movies. There's only a handful of films where you remember the themes. Obviously Star Wars is one of them, Star Trek would be another. This was another one. The music was great, thoroughly enjoyed it. But yes, I want to get Mike to watch The Black Hole if I can get a copy of it. And when I went to HMV, they were all sold out. So hopefully in due course they will be able to get it back in stock and I can get a copy of it. Because yeah, it is an unappreciated classic and I really do like The Black Hole. And it is such an odd ending, you know. It's like, how did that get past the studio? Really? I mean, for a kid to see that, and mind you, kids are very resilient, aren't they? It's the adults that have the problems, not the kids. But yes, many points for a different type of ending, I think, on that one. And very inventive. And quite scary as well when you were a kid. Seeing all these visions of hell as what is through the black hole if you're the wrong kind of person going into the black hole. But yeah, great film, great effects, fantastic ship design and all that stuff. All those great big long empty corridors with the androids, as they think they are, wandering about. Yes, definitely worth checking out if you've never seen it. It's, like I said, great cast, great visuals for the time, great ship design, as I say. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on The Black Hole. I've been meaning to talk about it since I got back from Sunderland, but I haven't had the time. So I just thought I'll present them to you now. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment or suggestion for an upcoming topic you'd like to see discussed, or like the video.